Okay. Cool. So let's go and get started. Guys, thanks for jumping in here. Again, we'll probably have, people coming in and out as we go. Regardless, we'll put this up onto the Freedom Team page. Once we're done, we'll get it up there, uploaded. So, but yeah, last week, we kind of kicked this off. And if you missed last week, I would go back and watch last week's training. It was awesome. Aaron went over his just kind of the whole presentation that he does when he meets with buyer prospects, and which is really, I don't know, I've seen it before. It's stuff him and I are part of Craig Proctor's program for a long time. We learned stuff like that, and he just took that to, and really, I don't know, magnified it, just amplified it up to another level. And with what he's done with that buyer packet, it's almost foolproof as far as getting buyers to sign on with you. And I had several people comment afterwards, call me afterwards, and we had talked last week. There were a couple of questions that came up, and Aaron, would kind of answer that question, but then also said, man, that's like almost a whole nother training. And so I had other people ask me, like, man, can we do a part 2 with Aaron? So I thought, let's do it. So anyway, so I appreciate you getting on here, Aaron, to share some more stuff,
Yeah.
And kind of wherever you want to go with it. Maybe, just go and, for those that, maybe will watch the recording or, haven't seen the first one, just tell a little bit of your background if you could, and then we'll just kind of jump in here and, I'll jump in,
Sure.
Different things as well. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So been in real estate. This is my 20th year of real estate, all in the same city. Before that, I was a high school teacher and art teacher and basketball and baseball coach. So perfect setup to be into real estate. Actually, I fell right into the perfect setup, which was getting into Craig Proctor's coaching. That's where I met Jeff, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago. And that really catapulted my business. My first year full-time, I think I did 34 deals, and my second year, 59 and 83, and then so on and so on. But the biggest thing in my business has always been the buyer side. Everybody kind of poo-poos the buyer side, saying, oh, you got to list to last, or buyers are liars, or all that stuff. Well, being strong with buyers has led to a very great year for us, because it's hard to get listings. It's super hard to get listings. But if you know how to work with buyers, get buyers into a house, get buyers under contract, you are actually the ones that are in control right now. So that was been one of our big focuses this year. I think we have 67 homes closed. Only 19 of those are sellers. The rest are buyers. We're typically about 60% listings, 40% buyers, but this year obviously much different. Last year was kind of similar to that too. Not as many listings as buyers, but still being able to help the buyers out. And that's about 30 million in production so far this year. So we'll end up around 35 to 40 million. And again, I think the biggest thing is setting up the expectation with the buyer up front, using the buyer representation agreement, which is what we went through the whole time last week, and then utilizing that for next steps. What are you going to do once you get them on agreement, right? How are you going to work with them at that point forward? And then what are all those other little guarantees in there? I think those are the biggest things. I know, Jeff, you had some questions. I didn't get a whole lot of questions on those. So if you have questions on that, I can pull up the buyer presentation and jump right into it. And I can answer those.
Yeah, if anything, I know some people asked about the, like the satisfaction guarantee, which I did that for years as well. And I think we were probably set up pretty similar on that. But I think it'd be good to explain that, because one of the things that I think we learned, guys, with Craig Proctor's program, it's like, like here in Colorado Springs where I'm at, there's 4,000 realtors. Like, why should a buyer or seller choose you? What makes you different from every other realtor out there? And Craig was really big on coming up with, a USP, a unique selling proposition. Like, you got to come up with some different things that just make you different, make you stand out from the crowd. And I know one of the ways that, I would get even a new lead, and I can talk about this later, but maybe you can go through yours, Aaron. I would get a lead that would come in, I call them up, they're already getting homes sent to them from 3 other agents. No, they have no interest in, getting more homes, from another agent. They're already overwhelmed with what they're getting. But then I would throw out, well, just so you know, I don't know if you've signed anything yet, but we also have this, buyer satisfaction guarantee. And I was just, in one line, just give them a brief rundown, just a quick one line scenario of what that meant. And they'd be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, go ahead and send us some stuff, and it would open up a door for us to meet with them. And next thing you know, they're signing on to work with us, even though they've been talking to some other agents and they're not signed on yet. So they're up for, they're anybody's game, or anybody, fair for anybody to take at that point till they're signed on. And that buyer satisfaction guarantee was a big part of us picking up those buyers. But I know you have that in your presentation. You mentioned that last week. Would you mind just going through how you use that and how that sets up? And then maybe, we could talk a little bit about that, because I think it's probably very similar to what we did as well. But that really worked for us in terms of getting them to sign on with us. It was a good program for us.
Can everybody see? Can you see my screen? I just went to.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is basically the buyer presentation. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit easier. We call it our love it or leave it guarantee. It is our buyer satisfaction guarantee. And I have used different ones as the market dictates. So in this super hot market, one of the ones that I used to use back in 06 to 09 and then through the foreclosure crisis was a guaranteed savings. Well, that guaranteed savings is a little tricky if you use it at the wrong time, because I would do something like we guarantee a $5,000 savings on any home, or we'll pay you $1,000 cash, right? Well, when the market's flying up like it is right now, you can't utilize that because you'll be losing money. It's still good if you can't get them to sign. But one of the ones that stood fast through all time was this love it or leave it guarantee, which is basically, if you buy a home from me, you can feel confident that we're not selling you a home. I try to really take the sales aspect away and it be more of a, communication game, more of a relationship. You're part of our family now. And that's the way we talk to them. Because I want to take the whole word sales out of it, because I can't sell anyone a $200,000 thing they don't want, right? But I can find somebody a $200,000 thing they think they want. And then after they do their inspections, they think they still want it, maybe. And then they start getting cold feet and they want to bail, right? Or even during inspections, they may see that, oh, it's got chipped paint. Well, we saw that when we were there. Well, that's a reason they want to jump out, right? Well, we offer this love it or leave it guarantee, which basically says that during the first 12 months after closing, if you're dissatisfied for any reason, we'll buy the home back from you or we'll sell it for you commission free. Now, how do we do that? There's two ways we do it. If they're going to pick the commission free option, they have to be, we will sell our side commission free, no charge. We just got paid on it 7 months ago, whatever. And I actually did the last time I did one of these was 3 years ago. My people, they bought, 8 months later, they got relocated to Michigan. Well, it meets any reason, and they fell in that reason. So we sold their home commission free, didn't charge them on our side, still paid out the buyer representation fee. And then we referred them out to Michigan, right? So it was a little bit of goodwill. The cool thing is they've sent me 2 referrals from people that worked here, right? So does that pay off? Yes. It's more of a long run push than it is that particular transaction. The other thing, if I'm going to buy it back from them because they just hate their house, they must be moving up and buying another home of greater value than the one they're selling. That's basically our guaranteed sale program, just flipped on its head for buyers. I've never had anyone do that. So it's made me like this much money, and I've spent like this much money doing it. I've only ever bought one home from the guaranteed sale program, which basically states your home sold in X amount of days or X amount of time, or I buy it from you if I can't get it sold. I've only had to buy one. And they sold me a $72,000 house that I kind of wanted because I could use it as a rental. They bought a $350,000 house from me. They gave me great testimonials on that program. So if I ever bring it up, I can shoot their video to people that it actually does work. And I've sold that $72,000 home just a few years ago for like $190,000. So I did okay. Even though up front it was painful. That's the same thing that this would lead into if somebody wanted to do it. The thing is, most people will never take you up on this because 1 year is just too short a period of time. So that's what we found through most of that guarantee. And then if we go into the other guarantees here, we'll guarantee you a home warranty. If they ask for it in the first offer and we can't get it negotiated, we will buy it for them. If they don't ask for it, we're kind of protected by the market a little bit here because a lot of people aren't asking for these because, you know, they want to get the home, you know. So this is a guarantee. And again, when you start stacking these up, and if they've talked to multiple people, first of all, most people haven't spent the 15 or 20 or 30 minutes up front on their exact criteria and what they want, let alone giving them things if they can't produce. So basically what you're doing is reversing all the risk for the buyer where they can feel comfortable with their purchase, right? Full mortgage approval, that's pretty simple. You know, we get you a second look mortgage review, customized loan programs, and the home finder service is the thing we spent the first 20 or 30 minutes doing and setting up, right? And then if all of that fails, we'll give them a cancellation guarantee where all they have to do is text me, email me, call me, and tell me I'm fired. And we will go away. No questions asked. And then I always tell them, I'll ask you one question. That's how could we improve for the next client? Because obviously you weren't happy with our service. How can we make that better for the next people? So that's the biggest one on those guarantees. I mean, if people want to ask me any other questions on how those operate, I can definitely go into more detail.
And keep in mind, guys, the cancellation guarantee, like that doesn't work if they're already under contract. You know, they have to be, you know, if they're on a house already that you help them find, they can't walk out at that point, obviously.
Right.
So, but up until then, we offered the same thing. Go back to, do you have a page, Aaron, that spells out the conditions of your satisfaction guarantee?
No, I
Just
do
right
and
here?
I don't. I have one, it's more of a contract. This is basically
Okay.
I will honor this if it's here.
Okay.
And then if
page,
they
I'll
want
see
to
if,
do it, I have to go into more details on what it is.
yeah. Let's see what kind of questions you guys have on that right there. Because I will tell, like, you know, don't get hung up on it, guys, in the sense like, oh my gosh, a lot of risk, a lot of risk. There's really hardly any risk at all for you to do it. It's a peace of mind for the buyers. We did ours. We had an 18-month guarantee. That's how we did ours. You know, and so I get a, like, let's say I get a call. Here's a buyer lead.
I used to do 2 years until the foreclosure crisis hit, and then I was having a lot of people calling back, and I'm like, oh shit, they're already down $50,000. I am not doing this, so we reduced it down to.
For sure. There's really little risk though. Like if I ever had somebody, and I don't know if I even had to ever take, I don't know if I ever even had to do mine. I mean, in terms of actually put it into play, I don't think I ever did. I always, you know, I was ready to, because there was no risk. I mean, if the main thing where they would fall into, like if, let's say they're moving out of state, we got a lot of military here. So let's say they're getting transferred somewhere else. Again, I would sell it for free. It didn't cost them anything, zero commission on the selling side. You know, they would have to still pay, you know, the 3% to the buyer's agent, you know, we would list it that way, it'd be on the MLS, 3% to the transaction broker or buyer's agent, whatever. But I got zero, but I would get the referral on the other end, sending them to wherever they're moving to. Now, let's say they're not going to be buying for a while, whatever, but I would always also ask for, I think we had a minimum of like 2 referrals, like over the next, you know, 6 to 8 months or 12 months, whatever it was. And I never had anybody not give me a referral on that, you know? And so you're still going to get paid. You're just not getting paid on that sale. But I'd also pick, you know, it's a listing. I'd pick up sign calls. I'd pick up, I mean, it always paid off. You know, I never lost money on that deal. You know, even though I'll go to closing on that deal and get zero, I'm fine with that because I'm going to get paid in multiple other ways, you know, because of that deal. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, and actually, thinking about the last one I did for free, didn't charge them any commission, anything like that. We do the full marketing still. We're still going to do professional photos. We're still going to do the Matterport. We're still going to market it because that's my obligation to get more buyers too, you know. But one of the buyers we did pick up off of that was a dentist, I believe, dentist or chiropractor. Amanda ended up working with him, that came from California, and he bought like a $550,000 house in Trophy Club. We would have never had that if I didn't solve their problem. Their listing was only like 350, right? But he was from California, and like a shack is 550. So he was like, holy cow, what can I get in Texas? So he bought here 550. It was nice, $15,000, $16,000 commission that we never would have got if we didn't do the free listing, right? Yeah. So again, important. And since you brought that up, I'm going to scroll down to this part where we ask for commitment, right? So this is our agreement, what we're doing as far as asking for commitments from the buyer. I set it up this way on purpose so that they didn't have to worry about anything. Our local forms, our state forms, are all broker specific, all broker protection. We'll come after sue you if we don't get our 3%. I mean, it doesn't say it in those words, but it says it in broker speak. If someone was looking at it, it's very broker protective, very buyer negative. So it's hard to get people to sign that form. It's 5 pages long. This is 1 page. Here's all the things we're going to do for you. Here's the bonuses you get. All we ask is your commitment, and it's a year long, and we're going to do these 12 points. And after we sell the house, we're going to put a sold sign on your property for 4 weeks. That's all we're asking for you. Some people do come back and say, what's this 3.5%? Well, that's our commission that we try to earn. I'm never going to let my commission stand in the way of getting a deal done, but we want to at least have the opportunity to earn our fee. And as a buyer, you realistically never pay us a fee, right? So I don't say never, we never charge you a fee, because there are some times we have to go back to the buyer and ask them for the difference, right? If they're only offering 2% on the MLS or 2.5% or whatever, right? And then that's where you have to put on your salesperson hat. You got to put on your suit of armor, and you got to go through a rejection or two, and it's okay, right? Because the buyer process realistically is pretty easy when working with the buyer once you've already got this signed, right? But let's say there was pushback or what have you on this, or you're showing them homes. I'm going to stop the share and then open up a new document to share. Let's share this one. So if that happens and I can't, let's say in VA and FHA situations, especially now, they're only offering 2%. I took a 3% buyer representation agreement. We have a shortage, and this is exactly how I talk to my buyer. Hey, I know you love 123 Main Street, but unfortunately there's a shortage in our fee. The seller is only offering 2%. We agreed on it. That's why you want to get this booklet signed before you go showing homes and writing offers. We're getting a 1% deficiency in our fee. And I know you look at that as it's only 1%, but it's actually a 33% reduction in my income and my ability to provide for my family. At this point, I've got relationship capital built up with them. They know about my kids and my dog and my wife and what we do. We're very family oriented. We share what we are, right? So we have relationship capital built up. So if I say, hey, I'm getting a 33% lesser pay, I don't say it that way, but a reduction in my fee, it's a big deal. It affects the way I can provide for my family. So we have 2 ways we can handle this. Either I can ask for the seller to pay for it, or you guys can pay for it. If they honestly do not have the money, their VA, I'm usually going to know before I ask the question, but if they're VA or FHA and they just have limited funds, I'm still going to ask the question, because some of them can come up with the money, right? And then it's a charge to them on the HUD, or I still call it a HUD. I hate the closing disclosure, so it's the HUD to me. So it's still a charge to them if they're willing to pay that 1% difference. So $300,000 home, they'd have to stroke us a check for $3,000. In a more buyer-friendly market than we're in today, we would actually ask this as a closing cost concession from the seller of $3,000. So let's say our offer price was $300,000. We'd ask for $3,000 in closing concessions, and then we would charge them $3,000 on the HUD. Those two $3,000 wipe themselves out to zero. So we still got our full 3%. It didn't cost the buyer anything. Now we're not in that market. We're in a market where we can't ask for extras like closing costs and things like that. So we have to lean on stuff like asking them for referrals. So I just spell it out. I don't know if this is pretty small, but let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. So
we can see there.
Okay. You never know how it transfers through.
Yeah.
So basically, we're just talking about, this is one of the biggest purchases people make. Our buyer rep agreement states that my commission is 4% or 3%. Due to the circumstance, I'll not hold you to this agreement. My goal for my clients is not to let my fees stand in the way of ability of them purchase their home of their dreams. Exactly what I tell them verbally is now in writing. This is why I'm willing to reduce my fee to what the seller is paying, 2%. Therefore, I'm going to take a 33% reduction in income. I spell it all out. And I'd like to ask you for a favor in doing so. And I'm going to go as far as just reading this to them, right? Through Zoom, face-to-face, or whenever we're doing the contract documents. What I need you to commit to is simple. Just basically sing my praises to everyone you know and become a marketing arm for our team. If you can agree to send me 3 qualified referrals over the next 6 months, then I can agree to take a reduction of my fee. These referrals can either be buyers or sellers. Please complete this agreement on this letter, which states that I am going to reduce my fee and you're going to help me find more clients in the future. Thanks and have a fantastic week. New buyer commission amount, 2%. Buyer commits to sending 3 qualified referrals to Aaron Kinn in the next 6 months. Sign, and date, right? This works awesome because now I have verbal commitment, I have future commitment, and I've got it on paper. Again, it's the same process of why we want them to sign the buyer rep agreement, because now they have signed something. They feel like they have to commit to it. Same thing here. Would this hold up in a court of law where I could come back and get some commission money, or if they didn't send me referrals? Absolutely not. It has 0 teeth. The only teeth it has in it is putting something in their head that they need to send me some business because I did something huge for them. I took a 33% reduction in my fee. I don't talk about 1%. Talk about 33, right? And there's some people out there offering 1%, 1.5%, $500. Well, that number is a lot bigger, right? So I definitely want to make sure, and I'll tell them, hey, I know you're committed, I'm committed, but I'm going to call you every 2 weeks and see if you found anybody for me, because this is really big for me. And actually, if they find one person for you, it more than pays for what you gave up on this one transaction. And I'll post this document into the Facebook group.
How often do you follow back with them, Aaron, after, like, you know, the deal's closed and now they've moved on and whatever, like, you know, at what point do you follow back? Like, if, you know, it's been a month and you haven't talked to them, they haven't sent you anything. I mean, I guess you're going to follow back with them anyway after they get in the home. You know, you're doing some follow back.
Yeah. So I think that's part of your process, is you have to have a good follow-up process anyways. So we'll tag this on to it. Like if I close a normal home, I'm going to do it just 1 by 1 by 1 by 4. I'm going to call them one day after they've been in the home, or text them or email them, some sort of communication that we have back and forth. Hey, you now had the home a day. Did you get in? Like, I just had a closing yesterday. I did this morning. Hey, did you get in the home all right? Were the keys okay? It was a new build. They're like, we were going to move in, but the home wasn't clean yet. I was like, oh crap, you know, do you need me to arrange a cleaning crew to go over there and get that home cleaned for you? I look at these follow-up calls, the 1 by 1 by 1 and 4, is discovery, not communication calls. Yeah, they come off as communication that I care, but it's discovery. How can I discover an issue or a problem they're having with their home that I can solve, that no one else will solve? No other agents do this, where they're going to be tied to me forever and keep sending me referrals, right? So I call them one day after closing. I call them 1 week after closing. same thing. Hey, you've been in the home a week. By this time, they'll say some stuff like, yeah, we were laying in the bed and we noticed the ceiling fan's all wobbly, okay, I'll pay for your home warranty visit to get that ceiling fan fixed, whatever. Does it cost me a little bit of money? Yeah, but this is huge relationship capital, right? Then I call them a month after closing, then I'm going to call them every basically 3 months, every quarter, for the rest of their life, right? Or contact them. I don't necessarily call it, maybe a Facebook message, maybe text. I kind of look at the way our relationship went throughout the contract and what their best communication method was. I have sold homes to people I never talked to one time on the phone, ever, because they're just not phone people. They're text people or Facebook Messenger, or even crazier Instagram Messenger, like we have those too. Right. So I would just slide this in those calls. Hey, it's my 1 week follow-up. I was just checking to see if you've got a couple qualified referrals for me, what have you. How's the home going? This and that, oh, I can solve that. Now you're even plussing it even more. You took a 33% reduction and now you're giving them more, right? It's called reciprocation. The more you give, the more you get. So, and it's a natural human response. Like, I know, have you ever been through a line at Starbucks and it's like, oh, the person in front of you paid. What is your first thought? Oh, I better pay for the person behind me instead of just accepting the gift. It's a response humanly that we want to reciprocate. Even though we don't know who the person was in front of us or the person behind us, we're going to give it to the person behind us just because they're in a car and they're also ordering Starbucks. And then you get tagged with a $35 order and yours was 1 coffee. Like, I've been there. Everybody has, right? So it's the same thing in real estate. If you do something good for somebody, they're going to give that relationship capital back to you.
Do you guys get that? Like, I think there's most agents out there, they have no idea that, whatever the MLS says that's what they're getting paid, that's what they're getting paid. They have no idea that their fee working with that buyer is determined between them and the buyer.
Yeah, I have
most agents don't know that.
Yeah, Angela's one that is in the room here with me. We just got done with our team meeting and listening in, but her very first transaction, this was an issue. And she had I don't know if I can say it, so I'm not going to say it. She had the guts to go and ask that buyer for the difference. And they did it. They paid it. It was 0.5%, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. So it was 1%. It was 1%. It was a full percent, and a couple $100,000. A couple grand, so big difference in her bottom line, but you have to have the guts to ask. And she had built up enough relationship capital and enough, with what she's already doing in the transaction, they were going to do it. So it works out really, really well. And she still has a good relationship. It hasn't killed the relationship together. Don't think that way just because you're asking for something that normally isn't asked for, right? Can I go back through on the buyer presentation just a second? Yeah. I want to talk about one other thing on there. And I don't see it. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay, so we talked about on the last call as well too, that we go through this in order. So the first thing that we ask for, or we do, is this, and this is all me writing. Then once we get done with that, we're going to go through the rest of it, and that's all them listening and interacting back and forth. And then on purpose down here, I don't put in the exact amounts because I want them to write information. I want to get them pen on paper before the ask comes up as, will you sign this, right? Because if they're actually writing down, the likelihood of them signing is much greater, right? So I always go through this box and say, take out a pen, here's your copy, write some stuff down. They still have no idea there's an agreement on the back of this booklet that they're going to have to sign, right, in order for me to work with them. So we get them to do this, right? And then I'm going to, this question here is a big one that we asked, when's the best time for us to look at homes together? Once I get them to sign their agreement, I want to get their commitment to go look at least 3 or 4 homes with me in the next week, even if they're 12 months away from buying a house. I have many people that come to me, oh, we're leasing until, July. Well, that's a long time away. So a lot of agents won't even meet with them, right? Or even help them at that point because they're not within 6 months or 3 months. I will still meet with them. I'll get them to sign and then I say, hey, let's just go out and look at 4 homes in the price range you gave me. Let's say their price range is 250 to 300. Let's look at one at 250, one at 275, and then a couple, around 300, right? What this is going to do is it's going to give you an idea of what you can afford in the neighborhoods you're looking for, right? You pick the 4 homes out. I'll help you if you need me, but pick the 4 homes out. We'll go look at them and it's going to give you a good idea of what's there between 250 and 300. So then when you see new homes coming in our search that we're going to set up for you, you'll know if it's a good deal or not. Now, to you, the real estate pro, you're like, there is no way they're going to be able to know if it's a good deal or not from only seeing 3 or 4 homes. I know that too. They may even know that. But the biggest thing is to get them into homes, right? Because if they get into a home within a week after doing this agreement, it kind of stamps this that this is more secure. Number 2, they see that I'm more secure in them and their ability to find a home. 2, they're more secure in me because I'm doing work for them besides just setting up some MLS search. And then the third thing it's going to do is it's going to improve and speed up their ability to buy. They will find a way to get out of that lease in July if they find a home they love in October. I guarantee it. Have it happen all the time. I have people that say we can't buy in 12 months and we're under contract in 10 days because I got them into homes. Like they've already signed the agreement. They're talking with lenders, getting all that squared away. And now they're in homes with me. They're going to buy before that 12-month period of time, every single time, because what we're showing them is better than what they live in, right? If they're buying 300, they might be in an apartment. If they're buying 600, they might be in a smaller 300. Wherever they're going is better than what they're in. The only time that doesn't work is when they're downsizing. But then you just use it the other way. You don't have to clean 4,400 square feet anymore. Now look at this one, it's half. It's 2,200 on 1 story, no more climbing steps. Again, you're speeding up their time frame. And that is huge, huge, huge. And I think a lot of people miss that because this is where they think buyers are liars. Oh, I'm 12 months away. And then they don't do a good job following up. And 6 months from now, they call their buyer and their buyer said, oh, I just bought a new home yesterday. Everyone's had that happen to them. Well, the problem was you didn't get them into homes first, and you should be following up more often, but you need to get them into homes first, period. So that's what I would recommend on this as well, too.
That's
Any
awesome.
questions on that?
Have you guys had, anybody want to share any, have you had any experiences like that where you've been able to get buyers out? Have any of you guys ever done that? You get buyers out looking, just even though they're months away, let's go take a look at some things, and they end up, their time frame moves up quicker. Has anybody else had that experience? Because again, that's something that Aaron and I learned that in Craig's program, and that worked for me. Just like what Aaron said, every single time we would get them out, similar situation. They're in a lease, or they can't move for 6 months or 8 months, or we're thinking sometime next summer, but they just got on your website now, and we get out looking, and they're under contract before Christmas. Their time frame moves up. They get excited when they get out there and they start seeing things. Wow, look at this, So, and I used to do the same thing, Aaron, just like, hey, let's get out. I'm gonna have my notebook with me, whatever. I want you to point out in these homes we go look. You point out to me what you like and what you don't like. It's gonna help me do a better job searching for you. I don't want to send you a bunch of homes that just absolutely don't work for you. That's a waste of your time and mine. I don't want to miss out on the home that could be perfect for you because we're not searching the right thing. You gave me your criteria. Let's get out and look at a few things and just you point out what you like and don't like. We'll just walk through those. I know these aren't the homes you're going to buy. I get that. You're months away. I get that. Let's just get out and look sometime over the next week or two, and I'll just do a better refining of your search for you, and then we'll just be in touch here. And next thing you know, we're looking at homes again the next weekend. They want to go look at more. And they want to look at now they're under contract and they're figuring a way to get into that home sooner. That's happened to me Countless
I had,
over the years.
yeah, I had clients that just moved here in September that put a lease in on a house because they're coming from California, didn't know the area. I am out showing them homes right now. We haven't got one, but we've made 3 offers on homes.
Yeah.
They're in a 12-month lease. They said they weren't going to be ready to look at homes, but I got them out within a week.
Yeah.
And they're going to buy a home before Christmas. I guarantee it. We've already made 3 offers, right? So,
That's awesome.
yeah, Mary.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on this because I completely agree. I've had buyers over and over again, especially in my market up here in the mountains. We're in an area that people are coming in for the weekend. They're looking at their wheels start turning about what it would be like to own a property in Colorado, and just giving people the assurance that they're not wasting my time. I think that's part of, on their end, what they're thinking too is, well, we don't want to waste this. We don't want to waste her time. We don't want to go out and have her show us properties. We're in a lease. We're not looking to move right now. I just reassure them that, look, I'm in it for the long haul. I've had clients that have been looking for 2 or 3 years. I've had clients that, say that they're going to buy in 2 or 3 years and they buy right now. But for me, it's worth the effort to meet with you guys, show you properties, get to know you, get to know your preferences, so that when you are ready, then we're going to rock and roll with it. And we'll be able to really pinpoint the exact properties that are going to work for you.
Very cool.
And I would say too, once you go out, Jeff made a really good point. When you're out with the buyer, it's not your job to be Vanna White. That's an old reference. We'd be like, oh, here's the kitchen. Here's the garage. Everybody knows it's a kitchen. There's no reason to tell them what room they're going into. Your communication should be, your communication should be, hey, what do you love about this kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
What do you hate about this kitchen? And I always, the very first time I go out with a buyer, I stand in the front yard and we're there for about 3 minutes because I'm going to set up the expectations of every showing there. And I'm going to tell them, as we come up to a house, if you hate the neighborhood, hate the front of the house, you don't like, there's no way you would actually live on this street. Tell me. I don't care. It's not my house. We don't even have to go in. We can go turn around and go to the next house. As you walk in the front door, I want to know what you like about the house, what you don't like about the house, what you like about the layout, what you don't like about the layout. I want to know everything that you're looking for so I can better serve you and find the perfect house for you. If you don't talk to me through the process, it's going to be hard for me to find you the perfect home, right? And then I also give you permission, if we take 4 steps in the house and it smells like smoke and you hate smoke to death and you would never purchase that house, to turn around, walk right out, and let's go to the next house. You're not going to hurt my feelings. The home has no feelings and I don't know the seller. So we're all going to be good. So I give you that permission to turn down any home within a couple steps or a couple rooms. And what this does is it keeps people from going through every drawer and every cabinet and every closet of every single house. I am not in every home 20 or 30 minutes. Some homes I'm in 5 minutes. The homes they really like, we're in 20 minutes. The homes they love, we may be in 30 or 40 minutes. And it helps me pin them down at that point. Hey, this is meeting 7 of your criteria, 8 or 9 of your criteria. Let's talk about numbers. Let's go through numbers on this house. What are homes like this house selling for? So we can actually put the best thing together for you, because finding a 10 out of 10 is probably not going to happen. Unless you build it from scratch and you are in charge of everything, that's probably not going to happen. If we get above a 7 out of 10, we've got a good chance this might be the house for you, right? And so what you're doing, and that's called pre-framing. You're just pre-framing the way you want them to look through the house, how you want them to communicate with you, and how you want them to act when they're there. And then that's what they do. And it helps speed up the process, right? Because no one wants to show people for a year, right? No one wants to show 100 homes. I want to show like 1 or 2 times, 3 or 4 homes, and I have a contract. That's what I want to do. That's like my goal on every buyer.
Guys, going back to that, like the buyer satisfaction guarantee. And again, just to put that out there, something you guys can all come up with. Understand this, like any program that you come up with is your program. You set the rules. You set the criteria on that program. Okay, so like, we would have these different programs, and there's that little asterisk over there, some conditions apply. It's your program, it's your conditions. Okay. So yes, the whole thing of, if you're not happy with this house within 12 months, we'll either buy it back from you or sell it for free. Some conditions apply. And then here's the conditions. And we have that spelled out in an agreement. We would give that to them, and I'd go through it with them, make sure they understand it. They'd sign it. I just kept it in a file, whatever. So I had it in case they ever came back. And like the whole, where they could, where I would buy it back from them is, again, there's that parameter. They have to be moving up into one of my listings. Okay, that's how I had it. Is that how you did it, Aaron? Was it one of your listings, or was it just moving up?
At first, we did it that way, and then we changed it to any listing.
Okay.
Our only term, honestly, was they have to be, there's two. They have to be moving up and buying another home, and we have to agree on price. That's it. So we had to agree on the price we were purchasing their home for. See,
mine was set up so that they had to be moving up into one of my listings. Well, if I've got 5 listings and none of those work for them, then that program doesn't apply. I'll still sell it for free. They still get the benefits of the program because I'll sell it with 0 commission, but I'm not going to buy their home because that part of that program, they don't apply. They don't, it doesn't work for them because none of my listings is going to work for them. So I'm not obligated to that part of the program. Okay. And again, that was my conditions on the program.
It's even better when you don't have any listings.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was 0 risk on my part. I never had to buy a home ever personally. Aaron bought one, and it was actually one that he wanted. It turned into a rental property that made a lot of money on, and he becomes a hero in that program, So, but again, you wouldn't even have to do that. You could just do a satisfaction guarantee that says, 12 months of being in here, and if you're not happy, we will sell your home for free. Okay. And again, it's free to them. They pay 0 commission to you. There is going to be a 3% commission put in there, or whatever it is, whatever you decide, for the buyer's agent coming in. And that's spelled out in the program. Okay. You're not going to come out of pocket for that commission. That's going to be, again, it's coming out of the deal. Okay. But, for them to qualify for that program, they need to be buying another house with you. Okay. Or you're going to, refer them out. They're moving to another state or whatever. You're going to get the referral fee over there. So you're still going to get some money when they move. Okay. Or they're going to, or they're going to send you some more referrals, 2 or 3 referrals, whatever you guys come up with in your agreement. And you can have that, So I would get a lead sometimes. I'd get a lead that would come in on a website. And so, my inside sales guy or myself, we would call that lead, and hey, I saw you were looking at, whatever, some homes on our website. Are you guys looking to make a move in the next little while? Well, yeah, we're thinking to move, sometime here, probably the next 6 to 8 months. We're not sure yet. We're just trying to figure it out, just getting started, whatever. Well, hey, we'd go through this process about wanting to set them up for homes, wanting to meet. Well, we're already getting homes from 3 other agents, and we're looking around. We're just getting started, no thanks. Hey, here's one of the things that I would do too, is I would create doubt in their mind about the homes that they're getting, that we're going to get them more homes. Now, I'm probably going to send them the same homes that everybody else is sending them. But if that wasn't spelled out and explained, and they haven't signed on with anybody, they're fair game, right? At that point. So I would say something like, look, I have no idea what those other agents are sending you. Just so you know, our list of homes includes all of the divorce sales, the pre-foreclosures, the foreclosures, the corporate owned properties, along with all the other listings here in town. Would that be helpful for you? Really? Oh, wow. Okay. So, sure. And so now I get their criteria. Now, again, it's probably going to be the same homes that are on the, whatever, but that hasn't been spelled out and explained, and they're not signed on with anybody. So I want to start sending them homes. I'm going to try and meet like what Aaron does. We're going to try and go meet face-to-face or on a Zoom and go through that presentation that Aaron did last week. Again, go back and watch that video if you weren't on here last week. Okay. We're going to go through that. And now I'm going to win them over, and they're going to sign on with me. Okay. But I'm going to try and get them set up on a home search. Okay. Start sending them stuff. Now, let's say that didn't work either. Well, yeah, but that sounds great. But, we're just getting started. Let me just throw out one other thing. As far as I know, we're the only team in town that does this. We do have an 18-month buyer satisfaction guarantee. If you work with us, and we represent you on the buy side of your home, if you work with us, we have a guarantee in place where for 18 months after the closing of the house, if you're not happy for any reason whatsoever, it's too far of a drive to work. You know, you wish the bedrooms were bigger. You don't like the next door neighbor. Whatever it is, I don't care, anything. We will either buy the home back from you or we'll sell it for free. Really? Well, how's that work? Well, let's get together and we'll go through all the details on that. But yeah, we've had that in place now for the last, 7 years, and whatever. It's been a great program for us. I'm not here to sell you a home. I want to build a relationship with you that's going to go on for, I'm your realtor for the rest of your life. We have all kinds of things in place. You become part of our family. We used to use those terms as well, and we want you happy in that home and whatever. So we have this guarantee. Let's get together and we'll go through all that. We'll get you set up on a search. I want to show you how we work and what we do and why we're different from every other agent that's out there, as far as I know. And again, you're never obligated to do anything with us at all. So
if you think about it, at the end of the day, the biggest thing you're doing for a buyer or for a seller is you're reducing risk.
Totally.
Right. So if you can think when you're doing a presentation for a buyer or talking to a buyer, same thing with a seller, your biggest goal is reduce as much risk as possible. So they don't have to worry about this happening or that happening. You can cancel at any time, all that stuff. We do cancellations on our listing agreements. And we talk about our listing agreements are all a bunch of 1-day agreements. So when people ask me, how long's your listing term? Oh, it's 1 day. 1 day. Yeah, it's just 1 day stacked on top of another day, on another day, on another day until you fire me or I sell the house. And hopefully it's the latter. Hopefully I sell the house before you fire me. Right. So basically what that requires me to do is to market the property crazy hard, sell your home for the most amount of money in the least amount of time, because I know I could be fired at any point. Every one of you will probably cancel a listing agreement and not charge the person if they're ticked off at you or if it's not working. So why don't you just tell them that up front, right? I'll cancel it anytime, any day. It doesn't matter. You're on a bunch of 1-day agreements. Where Keller Williams is going to require you a 6-month agreement. And if you cancel it, there's a $495 fee. I'll spend a couple $1,000s on your home. And tomorrow you say, you're gone. I'm done. I'm going to ask you one question. What could we have done better? And that's it. Right. So you're taking on all the risk. You're reducing all the risk. And how many actually terminate? Very, very, very few.
Yep.
Same on the buyer side.
Good stuff.
Once they've signed and you've actually put in that relationship capital and you are listening to them and doing what they want as far as a home and who they are as a person, they're not going to cancel you.
Cool. Any questions, guys? Anybody? Any comments, questions, comments, anything? Any thoughts? Hopefully I think it's a good follow-up, a good part 2 to what we did last week. And I would tell you both of these put together, this training and the one from last week, if you just watch these a couple times and then make it your own program, implement some things that you want to implement with this, I guarantee you're going to get more buyers working with you. You're going to get more people signing on with you, and you're going to get more referrals when it's all said and done as well. It will lead to more business. So any comments, any thoughts?
It's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's real good. I think even having the people that are in leases and, showing them homes is key. I mean, I've done that already and it's worked. So I believe in it, and the people will find a way. I had a lady had to spend $2,000 to get out of her lease. So yeah, so I get it.
Yeah,
it does work.
For sure. So, well, good. We'll be back next week. We'll do this every Tuesday. So every Tuesday, 10 a.m. we'll have a different trainer on next week. Lots of different agents in our group, ICON agents. I talked to Mary. She's going to train here at some point. We'll figure that out, figure a date there. And if any of you guys have anything, like here's something that you've done that you really feel like, you've got something down that you'd love to train on, let me know. Okay. It doesn't always have to be a big ICON agent, whatever. I mean, obviously we can learn from the ICONs, but I could learn something from every agent on this call right now. So there's things that you've done, things that you've experienced that you could train on, and we could have a good discussion about. And these don't all have to be 1 hour in length. We might have a 15-minute training with 15 minutes of questions, and that's what we're doing for that week. So, so just let me know if there's anything specific that you want training on, or that you want to train on yourself. But we'll have more of these. We'll do this every Tuesday. So any last comments or questions before we wrap it up? Anything?
Thanks for taking the time, Jeff, Aaron, everybody. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, guys.
Awesome. You guys have a good
Aaron,
day.
thank you very much, Aaron. Appreciate
All
it,
right,
man.
thank you.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
All right.